Adam Nip, joined by Woodstock Mayor Pat Sobeski for an edition of Webchat with the Mayor. We've moved things downtown here today. Pat, we were just around the corner on Graham Street at Woodstock Hydro, where they opened up 2 new electric car charging stations, not a gas pump, as you're used to, right?
No, not like my days when I was pumping gas at my dad's Sunoco, but it's quite exciting. Woodstock Hydro's partnered with Sun Country to set up these 2 stations. And there's lots of information, but the one thing that he emphasized is it changes your behavior on how you drive, because in this particular case, his vehicle would take 3.5 hours to recharge if it was sitting on empty. But he said you learn to always keep it topped up. So it changes your behavior and how you drive. And the example he gave that would be a benefit to the downtown is he would stop at Woodstock Hydro, put the charger in, and he would take an hour to go downtown, have lunch, maybe do some shopping, and then come back and pick up his car and continue on his journey. So
these chargers, which are free, by the way, if you do own an electric car, do you think that is going to be a bit of a tourism draw for the city's downtown?
Well, I think so, but they're starting to set up the network across the country, so when people purchase electric vehicles, they have places to recharge on a frequent basis. So it's the leading edge of what's going to come. So in the beginning, it certainly is going to be an attraction.
All right, interesting stuff. Woodstock City Council has a meeting this Thursday night. One of the topics you guys are going to be discussing is the city's lottery licensing bylaw as it relates to this new bingo facility that's still pending to set up here in town.
That's right. There's a bingo facility located up on Springbank Ave. The operator received the license to operate a paper bingo, but the future seems to be in this e-gaming. And so therefore he's decided that's the direction he'd like to go. So there's a whole bunch of regulatory things that have to happen. One of them is for us to change our lottery license, but it would be a partnership with him and the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation to come in. So he has to get the approval of City Council, and then he submits his application, and then he stays in line with a whole bunch of other groups that are applying for these e-licenses. But that's the direction he'd like to go.
Now, does the city see any money from this as they do with the slot machines?
With the e-gaming, yes, the Ontario Lottery Gaming Corporation would pay the city 3% of the net proceeds. 25% of the proceeds would go to charities, 25% to the Ontario Lottery Gaming Corporation, and then that leaves 47% for the operator.
Okay, interesting stuff. Kind of a light council meeting. Did want to go back to county council last week, and you had tabled a motion to look at a 1-year term for the warden. This is something that the county did look at a couple of terms ago, but why bring this out now, and what's the reasoning for it?
Well, I think, again, when you look at the Western Ontario region, for example, there's 16 members of the wardens, Southwestern Ontario wardens. 4 of them are municipalities, but of the 12 counties, 9 of them have 1-year term. Only Essex County joins Oxford in having a 4-year term. So it's something to take a look at. The warden's position, it pays just under $80,000 a year. So that's a factor. And when you look around the council table, I think everybody has the expertise to handle that, the functions. But I think one of the advantages I see in a 1-year term is if indeed you had 4 different wardens, it allows you to get a perspective from the other side of the coin as to what the upper tiers priorities are, how they think. Because certainly myself and the county, we certainly differ occasionally on some issues, but maybe if you were there, you'd understand where the county's coming from. So I think it's educational. I think there's benefits for it. Like I said, 7 years ago, we voted the warden in for a 1-year term, and then subsequently found out that our regulations said it had to be a 4-year term. So been waiting patiently to bring it up, and it's, again, something that 9 of the 12 Western Ontario counties elect for a 1-year term. That doesn't mean, so you can re-elect someone at the end of the term. So, but it's an option I think council should consider.
Have you had any reaction from fellow county councillors, the different mayors?
Yes, they've talked to me about it. They seem to be split on it. And certainly the residents I've talked to have indicated they think it's a good idea to share the load. Because again, the important thing is county council speaks as a whole. And so when you go to conferences and that, you're bringing the position of county council forward. So you don't need one person to champion it. Everyone should be aware of what's going on. So I don't see anything wrong with having 4 champions over a term.
Okay, well, we'll find out what happens with that in a couple weeks' time. Until then, it's Woodstock City Council coming up Thursday night. We'll look for more issues coming up here in the city of Woodstock. Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome, Adam.